Black twins threatened by police officers unaware of their military rank. Friday night at Danny's Tavern, a bar known as off-duty police territory. Officer Brett Coleman and two colleagues approached twin brothers Daniel and David Thompson, both 34, who were quietly having beers. "Hey you two, I think you better get out of here before things get complicated," Brett said, forming a semicircle around their table with officers Rick Torres and Jake Morrison. "Is there a problem, officer?" Daniel asked calmly. "The problem is that this isn't exactly the kind of place for people like you," Brett continued, leaning forward. "We don't want any trouble." David looked up with disturbing serenity. "Trouble? We're just having a quiet beer." Jake, visibly intoxicated, laughed harshly. "This bar is ours, our turf. We don't like suspicious characters around here." The bar fell silent as customers turned away, preferring to ignore the confrontation. What Brett didn't know was that the twins' calm wasn't submission, it was assessment. Daniel cataloged every detail. Brett's unprotected right side, Rick's hand near his gun, Jake's drunken stagger. David identified security cameras, calculated distances to exits, and noticed the bar owner Louise watching uncomfortably. "Let's finish our drinks and leave," Daniel said. "No fuss." Brett slammed his palm on the table. "You're leaving now, and you're going to thank me for being in a good mood." The twins exchanged a half-second glance, an entire conversation passing between them. Years of shared experiences, of similar situations faced since adolescence. "It would be interesting to see your IDs," David said softly, pulling out his wallet in deliberate slow motion. "Just to make sure you're really police officers." Brett's face flushed red. "Are you challenging me?" Rick put his hand on Brett's shoulder. "Man, let it go. They're leaving." Something about the twins' behavior activated his survival instincts. Jake pointed a trembling finger. "You think you can come here on our turf and act all cute? We run this town." "This town," Daniel repeated, something sharp entering his voice. "Interesting that you should say that." Brett pushed Daniel's shoulder. "Get up now." The twins stood simultaneously, movements synchronized. "We're leaving," Daniel said. "But you're going to regret how you handled this." "Oh yeah, we'll see who regrets it when I search you outside." "I'm sure I'll find something questionable," Brett laughed. "You have no idea who you're talking to, do you?" David asked. Not a threat, but almost pity. "I don't care if you're kings of Africa," Jake spat. "Here, you're nothing." As they walked toward the door, Daniel stopped. "One last chance to back down and apologize." "Or what?" Brett pushed out his chest. Daniel smiled with dangerous patience. "Or nothing. Just thought it was fair to warn you." The parking lot. Outside, Brett pushed Daniel against a car hood. "You know what the problem is with people like you. You think you can walk in anywhere like you're our equals." Jake circled David. "I bet you have drugs. We're going to search you thoroughly." Daniel remained motionless, but his eyes calculated distances and angles, a habit developed in Fallujah, where miscalculating meant death. Brett began patting Daniel's pockets aggressively, throwing his wallet and phone on the ground. "That's an expensive phone for someone who probably stole it. Give that back," Daniel said. "Not a request, but an order." David spoke calmly. "Do you guys have any idea how many laws you've broken? Harassment, assault, illegal search without warrant or probable cause." "Look at that," Brett laughed. "The street lawyer giving us a law lesson." Rick spoke tensely. "Brett, I think that's enough. Since when did you get soft?" "Torres, these guys need to learn some respect." Inside, Louise watched from the window, phone recording everything. He'd seen this dozens of times before, but this time, the brothers didn't seem scared. They seemed patient. Brett pulled out handcuffs. "I think we're taking you to the station." "Suspicious behavior. Resisting authority." "We haven't offered any resistance yet," Daniel said, turning to face him. Jake stumbled. "You don't understand how things work here. This is our city, our territory. Visitors," David suggested, his voice dangerously soft. "Or were you going to use another word? You're a problem that needs to be dealt with." Jake's face flushed. "Hands behind your back now." Brett clicked the handcuffs open. "No," Daniel said simply. 3 seconds of complete silence. "What did you say?" Brett blinked. "I said no. We haven't committed any crime. We're not going to be handcuffed. And if you try to touch me again, you'll find out it was the worst decision you ever made." Are you threatening a police officer? Brett's voice rose. No, David interjected. He's warning you. Big difference. Rick took a step back. Guys, seriously, something's wrong here. These two are going to learn today. Brett grabbed his radio. I'm calling backup. Daniel laughed without humor. You have no idea what's right. Jake tried to grab David's arm, but the commander simply twisted his body, making Jake meet only air, so smooth and efficient it seemed accidental. But Rick recognized combat training when he saw it. Daniel glanced at his watch. Luminox Navy SEAL, unmistakable to those who knew. You have exactly 1 minute to apologize and leave. Or what? Brett laughed. Or you'll find out that there are very specific consequences for corrupt police officers who harass high-ranking military personnel. The phrase hung in the air like a grenade. Jake, drunk and arrogant, pulled out his baton. Enough talk. Everything changes. Jake's baton sliced through the air but never reached its target. David moved his head 2 centimeters left, the bare minimum necessary. Jake stumbled on his own momentum. Daniel had his phone out. Filming unprovoked assault by armed police officer. Attempted assault with blunt weapon against unarmed civilian. Turn that damn thing off. Brett lunged for the phone, but Daniel stepped back, maintaining perfect distance. Now it's 2 officers attempting to illegally confiscate private property while committing assault, David commented, pulling out his own phone. Rick finally understood. Brett, stop now. Are they recording? Great. I'll show the whole world how we deal with criminals resisting arrest. Louise walked out. I've already called the county sheriff and sent videos to 3 local newspapers. You're fired, Louise, Brett growled. Your bar is getting a health inspection tomorrow. It won't. A female voice cut through the night. A black woman in a suit emerged from a car, posture exuding authority. Because I am Assistant District Attorney Lisa Monroe, and I just witnessed 3 police officers commit at least 7 documented crimes. Brett's face drained of color. Harassment, intimidation, attempted assault, abuse of authority, misconduct, Lisa counted on her fingers. Shall I go on? David put away his phone, a discreet smile on his lips. Prosecutor Monroe, long time no see. Commander Thompson, she nodded. Then looked at Daniel. Captain Thompson. Absolute silence. Wait, what? Brett finally articulated. Daniel stepped forward, his posture changing to command authority. Captain Daniel Thompson, United States Army, Ranger Battalion, currently instructor at West Point. Commander David Thompson, Navy SEALs Team 6, currently on leave after 3 tours in the Middle East, David. Followed. Reality crashed down on Brett. He had harassed 2 of the most highly trained military officers in the country. On camera, with witnesses. That doesn't change anything. Brett's voice trembled. You still haven't identified. We're not required to identify ourselves to civilians, Daniel cut in. And definitely not when being illegally harassed by off-duty drunk police officers. There's been a misunderstanding. Rick raised his hands. We can all forget about this. 3 armed drunk police officers harassed 2 decorated military officers, attempted illegal arrest, and committed assault. You think that just goes away? Lisa's voice was sharp. We didn't know. If we had known they were military, Jake began sweating. So it would have been acceptable to do this to ordinary civilians. David tilted his head. Is that what you're saying? Brett tried one last card. You have no proof. It's your word against ours, and there are 3 of us officers. Daniel smiled. Prosecutor, how many videos do you have? 4 different angles. Lisa consulted her tablet. Louise started recording inside the bar. The Thompson brothers have parking lot footage, and I have the last 8 minutes. And our watch's record too. David raised his wrist. Audio and video. Standard security protocol when we're in civilian territory. Brett staggered as if punched. I already have 3 witnesses from the bar willing to testify, Lisa continued. And Danny's tavern security cameras still work. Rick sat on the curb, head in hands. It was over. What do you want? Brett's tone shifted to desperate. Money. Apologies. What we want is justice, Daniel said slowly. Not just for us, but for all the other people you've done this to over the years. I bet you 3 have a history, Lisa nodded. How many other people have you harassed? How many illegal arrests? Jake was crying. My career. My family will kill me. You should have thought about that before you decided you had the right to intimidate people just because they didn't look like you, David replied without sympathy. A sheriff's patrol car pulled in, lights flashing. Prosecutor Monroe, the deputy sheriff greeted. We got your call. 3 counts of harassment, attempted aggravated assault, abuse of authority, conduct unbecoming a public official. And that's just the beginning, Lisa confirmed. As the 3 were handcuffed, Brett looked at the twins. How did you set this up? Daniel exchanged a glance with David. We didn't set anything up. You did it all yourselves. We just made sure it was documented. As they were put into police cars, Louise approached. Thank you. These guys have been doing this for years. No one ever had the courage to stand up to them. How many other people? David asked. Dozens, maybe hundreds over the years. Always the same targets. Anyone they considered different. The aftermath. The video went viral. #CorruptCops Exposed had 2.3 million views in 3 hours. Every angle, every threat, their faces, full names, and badge numbers stamped on every frame. 17 victims have already come forward, Lisa reported. All with similar stories, some with evidence. We can fix this, Brett tried from the patrol car. Shut up, the deputy sheriff ordered. You 3 are suspended without pay while a federal investigation is opened. Your record is being reviewed, every arrest, every report from the last 8 years. Rick's wife called. She'd seen the video. She filed for divorce. By morning, 7 national news outlets covered the story. By afternoon, the mayor announced a complete department overhaul. By evening, the 3 former officers faced 23 criminal charges combined. 6 months later, Brett Coleman served coffee at a roadside diner. Sentenced to 3 years probation. He'd lost everything: badge, pension, home, family. Jake sold insurance over the phone. Rick worked night security at a supermarket. The police department was overhauled. 17 officers dismissed. 43 cases reviewed. 8 victims exonerated and compensated. Daniel Thompson was promoted to major, directing ethics training programs for police forces in 6 states. Respect is not demanded, it is earned. David accepted a position at the Pentagon consulting on military-civilian relations. His photo appeared on Time magazine's cover. Louise expanded his bar to 3 locations, training bartenders to document and report abuse. Silent witnesses are accomplices, became a national slogan. Lisa Monroe was elected chief district attorney with 73% of the vote, the first black woman to hold the position. On his last day of probation, Brett saw Daniel interviewed on TV. Hate doesn't define who we are. It defines who we choose not to be. Brett turned off the TV. He'd had all the privileges: badge, gun, system. The Thompson brothers had only their dignity. And yet they won. Because in the end, arrogance always loses to competence. Prejudice always falls before character. And those who underestimate others based on appearances discover too late that they misjudged the right people. The best revenge was never to destroy enemies. It was to build something so big that they were too small to reach it. Justice has no color. It has consequences.